those who are at the leadership positions at the top of their agencies, organizations, I think this is critically important for them. I think you come to a point where you are broken and you are actually burnt out. And what that burnt out actually means in physical and mental and emotional terms is that you have completely very low self-esteem. You feel hopeless. I think the best healer for a burnout is just two things simple. But I think burnout is more a situation that's more redeemable, or you can overcome it, rest in that. Burnouts, people overwork, and all of these situations actually result when we do not plan our
Hi, and welcome back to the fourth episode of our podcast. Today I have back with me Mr. Daniel Konraj. He's going to be with us for the next couple of episodes
Yes.
as well, and I'm hoping that you're all looking forward to them.
Right.
Today's topic is burnouts, and I feel like they're a really important discussion to have, especially with the rise of mental health awareness that's been coming up the last couple of years.
Right.
Right. And I feel like a lot of people, young and old, will resonate with this discussion today.
Absolutely, yes. And
Right.
especially this is for those who are at the leadership positions, at the top of their agencies, organizations. I think this is critically important for them.
Right. Good. So now that we know, would you like to define what a burnout is?
Yes, I think burn out. Just looking at the word, yeah, burn and out. Right?
Right.
You're burning,
Yeah.
and then you completely burnt yourself, burnt it out. It's dead. It's
Yeah,
gone.
your ashes, you're gone.
Yeah, I think that when you work, and when you are at the point where you're not stopping, and you work so hard, yes, you work so hard without turning a back or taking a break, I think you come to a point where you are broken and you are actually burnt out. And what that burnt out actually means in physical and mental and emotional terms is that you have completely very low self-esteem. You feel hopeless. These are the words that people say, that I feel so cynical. I feel so bad about everything around me. They're so angry. They're
Right.
resentful. They don't like the people, the work, the family. There's something about you that makes you completely down, right?
Right.
And those are the emotions that people usually express during a burnout.
Have you ever experienced a burnout?
Yes.
Because I know I have. Being
So,
a student. So.
Burnout, yes. And I remember a time when I was traveling for 40 days.
Wow.
Yeah, possibly that's the time I have been the longest away. And I remember that I was coming up to the 28th day and I felt something with me. I was so unhappy. I was not wanting to travel anymore. I was not wanting to talk to the people that I had to talk, make those deals that I wanted to take.
You're just done.
Yeah, I was just done. That's the word. I just want to just roll and just go. And I'm like, when will this 40th day get over? Because
Right.
that's when my ticket is. And that was just an unbelievably sad time. And towards the end of it, I was just so hateful. I said the word resentful, right? So hateful of myself and my work. And I was like, the other word I would say, I was just like a zombie.
Right.
Just walking around, just
Mindlessly
being
around.
there. Yeah. It was just a terrible time.
Right. So I'm just gonna say this: like, if you went back home and
Mhm.
because you weren't with your family for
Right.
40 days,
Right.
and then they expected you to fulfill their wants and needs and you because
Right.
of your absence. So how did that work?
Yeah,
Because
so
you
this
were
is-
already burnt out.
I was burnt out and they were also burnt out,
Okay.
right? Because they had this huge burden of the home,
Right.
right? And I'm here carrying my big burden of not having my time out, and I'm burnt out, right, emotionally. And then I was there and I'm like, look, take care of me. And they were like, take care of me, right? And so this was a very difficult situation. I think this happens to all of us, right? When we are burnt out, we're actually hurting the people around us also.
Right.
They're also hurting.
So how did you get out of that?
And so I think the best healer for a burnout is just two things simple: time and rest. Time and rest. Just give it time and just rest. And I think there's no quick fix. It's like almost getting a small patch on your skin burned, right? It just takes time.
Yeah.
And then it just needs rest so that it just
Leave
nothing
it
should
alone.
touch it,
Yeah,
right?
leave it alone.
Leave it alone. And over a period of time, you get new skin over it. And I think it's the same way that you made a big hole in yourself.
Right.
Just let it heal, just give it time. And that's how I think I overcame it.
Right.
You said that you had a burnout experience. I would love to know how you dealt with yours.
I mean, a lot of students, I think, experience burnouts, especially because we have exams, we have assignments, we have to manage all of that, plus our social lives, because you can't just abandon your friends, you can't just, leave everything else behind just to study. But if you take too much time out just to hang out with your friends, you're gonna abandon your studies.
Right.
And like, I feel like doing that repeatedly every year for 6, 12 months, and you only have a few gaps in between.
Right.
Right. And once I did, I think last year was my first year, and I did experience a burnout after like I think my midterms, my halfway exams, and then I was just gone. We had like a break for like 2 weeks, and I was doing nothing except sleep. I couldn't even sleep. I was tired, exhausted mentally, physically,
Right.
and it took me a long time in those 2 weeks just to recover. The recovery period is hard, very very hard, but I did bounce back. So
I think that one word you said is very important, that I was resting or sleeping example, and you didn't feel rested. I think that's the feeling with being burned out.
right.
Like regular, you're tired, you go to sleep, you feel fresh and back. But when you have a burnout, you realize that even when you're resting, you're not feeling better.
Right.
And at those times, I just think that you need to just be there and just get rested. The other thing, very dangerous about this, is that most people, when they have a burnout, actually end up doing some things that they will never do. Some do something wrong.
Right.
So you're trying to find some medication somewhere, so desperate, and people tend to make mistakes. And so I think that if you have a burnout, I think the best place is to be with people you love, be close to them, take a rest, and just be. I think that is the best healer.
Did your family support you after your burnout?
I think we had a tremendous time of support, and I think if you can take time out by going somewhere else,
Okay.
into a new place, new situation, I think it helps you to manage your emotions better and actually truly be rested. Sometimes the familiar environment sometimes does not help you to heal. And so I think if you just went out together with people you love, who care for you, genuinely care for you, and I think if you try to take time out, I think by yourself, rest, I think it helps to recover better.
Right. Could a breakdown, no, a burnout, if you burnt out, can that lead to a breakdown? Because I feel a lot of people confuse the two.
I think that a more severe form say burnout actually results in something called as breakdown.
Right.
And I actually explain breakdown as like a car going in the middle of the road, and you have a broken radiator, or you have a damaged wheel, right? You have a change. So it's a state where the car cannot move, right? And so if you do not care for yourself and you have a burnout, you eventually have a breakdown.
Right.
And that is a more severe form of depression, and of other anxiety, stress-related disorders actually come when you are actually have a breakdown.
Right.
But I think burnout is more a situation that's more redeemable,
Right.
or you can overcome it with rest and time.
Right. So I know this is kind of impossible. You're going to experience a burnout at some point in your
Yes.
life, but how would a person avoid it?
I think the best way to avoid it, I think for me, is to schedule your priorities of rest, family, community, properly scheduled.
So a good work-life balance.
Yes, and to make that work-life balance, which we all want to have,
Right.
is to schedule and plan them well. And I think if you don't schedule them, it never gets done.
Right.
And so I think the burnouts, people who overwork, and all of these situations actually result when we do not plan our other activities very well. And so I would say that when you actually have to schedule your out of office time, out of work time well, so that you are able to overcome and not end up having a burnout.
Okay. Well, I feel that is all good
Yeah.
and well, and I hope that anyone who's listening to this, if you feel like you're going to experience a burnout, or if you've experienced one, I ask that you take your time to rest, and I ask that today you go and talk to those around you and see if they think you're doing well, because sometimes you don't recognize it, and other people might. They might, and maybe listen. Take time to listen, take time for yourself, and take time to rest.
Absolutely.
Right, and I feel that's the end of our episode. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us as well. And I'll see you next time.